So a few weeks ago in a blizzard in Cleveland, Mike Tomlin handed the Cleveland Browns a win on a silver platter, and the play calling was horrendous in that game despite all our flaws. And we handed the Browns that one when we had the game won, and we had no business losing it. We want that game back because now the Browns are coming on over to Pittsburgh and we have a ton of momentum. We want that game back. Let's get on to this preview, man. What is good, everybody? I am Mac, back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram. Link is down in the box below. Week 14, round 2 between the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This time, the Browns are coming to our place this Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Let's get on to this preview, man. It is 3-9 against 9-3. And obviously, you know that we played the Browns 2 weeks ago in that blizzard in Cleveland, a 24-19 win by the Browns. They did have a double-digit lead on us in that game, but the Steelers responded with 2 touchdown drives in a row to give them the lead, and then that is when coaching got really bad down the final phases, and that's when our defense folded as well. That allowed the Browns to pull out that win, and we want it back, man. Well, at least I do. But yeah, you know, there's nothing about the Browns that I can sit down here and say to you that you already don't know. They're coming off of a very gut-wrenching loss in typical Cleveland Browns fashion to the Denver Broncos on Monday night by a final of 41-32. And it was a game in which Jameis Winston had the most Jameis Winston type game ever, where he set the single game passing record for passing yards in Browns history with 497 yards, and he threw for 4 touchdown passes, and he also had 2 pick sixes in that game, which definitely hindered the Browns' chances of winning that game, and that proved to be the downfall. And then as the Browns were driving down 9 points to make it seem like a little bit more of a respectable game, Winston threw an interception in the end zone, and that was that. So that's it with the Cleveland Browns. And, you know, that's it with Jameis Winston right there. But when they last played us a couple weeks ago in that blizzard, Winston had like half of what he had against us. Now, I'm not taking anything away from that. Winston still had a good game, but if he can have half of that against us, against another really solid defense in the Denver Broncos, then I think right there, that needs to be our biggest key in this matchup right here. Okay. So my first key to victory for this game right here is you got to create turnovers. Like I said, Winston threw 3 interceptions against the Denver Broncos. And if you remember the last time that we played the Browns, we actually had 3 turnovers on them. Winston threw an interception, and I think he threw 2 interceptions now I think about it. And I know for sure there was a strip sack in that game by Nick Herbig. So we won the turnover battle right there in the blizzard, all right? This coming Sunday is going to be fairly decent weather. And if you can cause 3 turnovers in a heavy snow downpour right there, I think you definitely can come away with getting at least a couple of turnovers on the Browns right there, seeing that they are turnover prone and seeing that they do not really take good care of the football. So definitely getting turnovers is key for this game right here. And if you remember in the Bengals game, even we were able to come away with turnovers as well. We had an interception on Joe Burrow, and we also had two strip sacks on him. One of them that was returned by Peyton Wilson for a scoop and score touchdown that was set up by, you guessed it, a Nick Herbig strip sack. Now, for as much as that I love Nick Herbig, and I think that he is a great substitute for Alex Highsmith, guess what? Alex Highsmith is actually ruled questionable for this game. So that's great news right there for our pass rush right there. Because if Alex Highsmith has a chance of playing in this game, I really think that's one of the biggest ways that TJ Watt can get going finally. All right. And, I sat down here about a week ago when I gave my Bengals preview, and I made a video earlier in the week, giving my thoughts about, TJ Watt's season this year. You know, I'm not going to say that TJ Watt needs, you know, I'm not saying TJ Watt is like a system type of player, but like I said, I definitely think it has something to do with players that were, I definitely think it has something to do that players are chipping him and that TJ Watt just needs to get acclimated to it. And also, I think that TJ has just been missing Highsmith over the past couple weeks or so. So definitely, if Alex Highsmith is good to go for this game, I think his presence is definitely going to be felt, and TJ is definitely going to be able to get back on the right track, and he's going to be able to be productive once again. So definitely Highsmith and TJ wreaking havoc on the D line, wreaking havoc off the edge, and just punishing that Cleveland offensive line. So there you go. And in that game against the Broncos that Jameis Winston had, he did get sacked 3 times. Against us, he had little to no pressure on him. So definitely that's something right there, is that you got to create a lot of pressure for this game. You don't have to sack the quarterback to cause pressure. That's my whole gist of everything right there. But you definitely got to be able to hit him a couple of times, and you got to be able to just be able to pressure him. And like I said, with Alex Highsmith potentially coming back for this game, that's huge right there. We got our gruesome twosome on the edge, as I like to say, for this game. So that's big right there. Secondly, you take a look at the Cleveland Browns. Jerry Jeudy, monster game against the Broncos. Elijah Moore had a really solid game against the Broncos as well. And I can tell you right off the bat right there, not looking forward to that particular matchup right there, because not only has our pass defense looked sus over the past couple of weeks, you guys know the story with JPJ. While Russell Wilson has been cooking for us, guess what? JPJ has been getting cooked himself. That can't keep going on. That can't keep happening, which is actually my second key to victory right here. JPJ, you got to get your shit together, man. I like JPJ. I still have confidence in him. I still think that he can be a good corner someday. I'm not ready to give up on him right now. But if you were to tell me what I thought about JPJ right now, he's looking like a massive liability in our secondary right now, more than an asset. So everything from him just missing assignments, everything from him just committing penalty after penalty after penalty, more specifically with defensive pass interference. He also has a lot of defensive holds on him as well. Everything. Getting cooked, having no constantly letting receivers get separation off of him. And even in the Bengals game, he had a wide open interception thrown right to him in the end zone with the Steelers up by 13. And the ball went right through his fingers, right through his hands. Now, again, it doesn't take away the fact that the Steelers won the game. It's not, it didn't really have an effect on us, but that just goes to show you that JPJ's been a letdown so far. So JPJ, I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on with him right now. I don't know if it's just, a bad slump. I don't know if this is who he truly is as a corner, if he's just real grabby all the time. But with him potentially going up against guys like Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore, I would probably I would probably imagine he's going to be going up against Elijah Moore. I'd put Dante Jackson personally on Jerry Jeudy for this game. But regardless, JPJ, you got to get that cleaned up, man. Plain simple. You're a first round pick for us. You got to start playing like it. So that's my thing right there. Get your shit together, JPJ. Start covering better. You gotta clean up the penalties. You can't keep, getting beat by these receivers. You just gotta come up with it, man. You gotta get it sorted out. That's my second key to victory right there. Then, of course, with Cleveland's defense, the Browns have a tough defense still, but it's easily able to be beaten as they did allow a lot of big plays with the Broncos in that game. Bo Nix had a couple of long touchdown passes against the Browns in that game. And I think with Cleveland's defense, it's really all about if Myles Garrett gets going. Now, in that game against us a couple weeks ago, Myles Garrett had a phenomenal game. And of course, the debate between Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, that's going to go on to the end of time. I can already tell you right now. But a game that Myles Garrett had against us, where he was just getting tackles in left and right, and he was just punishing our offensive line, it just adds more ammo to people who say that Myles Garrett's better. Personally, I don't think either guy is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. If you ask me, it's probably Trey Hendrickson. To me, it's probably Trey Hendrickson at this point, but Myles Garrett's definitely a candidate. This is definitely going to be a battle between two Defensive Player of the Year candidates in Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, which is a big segment in itself with my key to victory right here. Win against Myles Garrett on both ends of the ball right there. Because, like I said, Myles Garrett dominated us on that Thursday game, but against the Broncos, he was a little bit quiet as he didn't get a sack on Bo Nix. And what I mean by both ends of the ball right here is, well, first of all, on offense, I mean, obviously it's a big chore for our offensive line going up against a freak and Myles Garrett. But I'll tell you this, our O-line came off easily their best performance of the season and their best performance in years that I've seen with the O-line. As yes, they did allow two sacks they did allow two sacks, but overall, those are the only two things wrong that I saw the O-line do all day against the Bengals. Because you take a look back at it, Russ had a lot of clean pockets. He was well protected throughout most of the game. He had a lot of time to throw the ball. He was able to process decisions well. And when the times that Najee Harris did get the ball, there were lanes open for him. They blocked well for him. I thought the O-line did a great job on Sunday. Like I said, easily the best game that the O-line has had all season. So winning in the trenches definitely is important for this game right here, and they have to be able to beat a guy like Myles Garrett, especially in this game right here if they're coming off of their best performance. And then as for the defensive side of the ball, how about TJ Watt shows up Myles Garrett in this game? Because remember, at the end of the game, sure, George Pickens said, well, I don't think the Browns are very good, which, I don't need to sit down here and say how I feel about George Pickens. I think he's a very immature player. I think he was just butthurt after the loss. but that doesn't change that doesn't change my mind that George Pickens is just very immature. A lot of growing up to do with the kid. But guess what Myles Garrett said? He said he's better than TJ Watt. I want TJ Watt to come out of this game knowing that he has Alex Highsmith potentially for this game and knowing that he's going to show up Myles Garrett in this game. Okay? Show him up. Garrett did next to nothing against the Browns in our last matchup, aside from stopping the run a couple of times. And I think that game against the Bengals needed to have been a get it right game for him. He was stopping the run in that game. He had a strip sack in that game, and I say it all the time with TJ. He leads the league in forced fumbles by a wide margin since he was drafted in 2017. So definitely O-line. This is your opportunity right here to defeat Myles Garrett and to limit him. And TJ Watt, show him up big time. Show him that you are better than him. Don't let him get away with that. Beating Myles Garrett is huge for this game. And finally, my last key to victory, spread the wealth around. What did Russell Wilson do against the Bengals? 414 passing yards, one of the best games of his career, 3 touchdown passes. He had a pick six that shouldn't have happened because it was blatant defensive pass interference on Pickens that he was grabbed by the face mask and he was shoved down to the ground. Blatant pass interference. Shouldn't have happened. But Russell Wilson cooked, okay? Let Russ cook in this game as well. Spread the ball around. Like I said, the Browns defense is tough, but they do give up a lot of big plays. And with Russell Wilson coming off of his best performance of the season, his best performance as a Steeler, and seeing that he had back-to-back touchdown passes against the Browns in the previous game before defense and Tomlin let him down, I see no reason why Russell Wilson can't do it again. You know what I mean? So spread the ball around. He completed passes to 10 different players on the Steelers on this past Sunday. 10 different players. So do whatever you can to spread it around, whether it's attacking the middle with Muth, whether it's getting Mount Washington involved, whether it's finding Pickens on a deep pass, whether it's connecting with Van Jefferson of all people, finally using Mike Williams, which is what you traded for him to get anyway. Whatever it is. I don't know about CA3. I know that he got banged up in that Bengals game. I don't know about him right now. I have to take a look more into it. But the bottom line of everything here, spread the ball around. Carve up that Browns defense and have a sequel to your best game of the season. Okay? I am not going to sit down here, make a video. I refuse to sit down here and make a video talking about how the Pittsburgh Steelers got swept by the Cleveland Browns. I refuse to let that happen. It will not happen on my days of YouTube. You guys are 9-3. You're competing for the AFC North. You are dying for a playoff win. This fan base has waited far too long for a damn playoff win. It is now the month of December. So start acting like that you're a team that's going to be taken seriously and a team that can make a playoff run, damn it. And it starts by getting revenge on these Cleveland Browns that took a W away from you 2 weeks ago. Are you going to let these guys come into your freaking house and get the sweep on you? No, you're not. I will not tolerate it. I will not allow that to happen. And should it happen, I'm not going to be very nice in my post game. Get the job done. Get to 10-3. and then hit the road to Philly for your toughest game of the season. And it starts Sunday against the Cleveland Shitstains. Steelers, you got your work cut out for you. 4 weeks in a row. 4 weeks in a row, you've gone up against the AFC North. And you're 2-1 so far. I'll take 3 out of 4. Okay? Regardless of what the context is, I will take 3 out of 4 with that stretch of divisional games. It's up to you guys now to get to that. So I suggest you do your job. Get physical, beat them up, and get this damn W. Let me know what yins think down in the comments below. I am Mac, checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody.